Coming up on the March 4th edition of Carolina Week, a brother of one of the Chapel Hill shooting victims is speaking out. The victim's legacy lives on through an effort to help the needy.
The closing of a UNC center continues to spark controversy. Was it a political move?
Medical personnel say sometimes all you need to make that doctor visit less scary is to take a furry friend along. All that and more.
Carolina Week starts right now.
From the UNC School of Journalism and Mass Communication, covering Carolina in HD, this is Carolina Week.
There has been a major development in the case of a local man accused of a senseless and horrific crime. Good evening, I'm Jacqueline Lee.
And I'm Kristen Lee. Prosecutors will seek the death penalty for Craig Hicks, the man accused of killing 3 Muslim students at an apartment in Chapel Hill. The victim's friends and family members don't want to talk publicly about the upcoming trial. They're choosing instead to talk about the national outpouring of love and generosity that's helping them cope with the pain. This was the last message Dia Barakat shared with the world on Facebook. He was helping feed homeless people in Durham. Dia's brother says that's who he was. Before a gunman took their lives, Dia, his wife Yusor Abu Salah, and her sister Razan were volunteers.
I think many people caught on quite quick that my brother, his wife, and Razan were very service-minded folks.
So why not keep that legacy of service alive? Why not feed their legacy?
And we felt like the only way to respond to this kind of a tragedy and this kind of evil is with a good act.
Elma City said that idea, guided by their faith, has prompted a national food drive, and Muslim organizations across the country are coming together to support the initiative. But the legacy isn't just about food. It's also about offering a different perspective.
You know, extremists are all over the news in terms of the Muslim faith right now, but people really don't get to see the side of the 99.9% of peace-loving, everyday American Muslims that just want to live happily like everyone else.
And although their lives ended abruptly, no one can forget their mission.
I know that my brother is loved by God, and that's clear and manifest in this reaction that we see from everyone. And that was, that's, I think, one of the most important things that helps me and my family to know that his actions were sincere and accepted by God.
Workers at collection sites will donate food to local food banks in each state. While many in the Muslim community work to remember the 3 victims, some also fear for their safety. AJ Nwoko has that part of the story.
It's been 3 weeks since a gunman took the lives of Muslim students Dia Barakat, Yusur Muhammad, and Razan Abu Salah, shooting them execution style. Muslim students say they fear for their safety.
My fear is that something like this will happen to a member, and it's just going to even cause more anxiety.
I did sense a lack of security or feelings of security in the larger community, in the Muslim community here.
It's been, I feel very comfortable, to I feel very unsafe, to I love being on MSA exec, to I don't even want to identify myself as Muslim anymore.
The headscarf became heavier. I remember the next day when I was putting it on in front of the mirror, I was more conscious that what harm, what kind of looks, it just made me more conscious of.
UNC Public Safety Police Chief Jeff McCracken says there's no evidence yet to suggest the shooter committed a hate crime.
This individual doesn't look like he was connected to any group or anybody. But the investigation will bear that out.
To win a hate crime conviction, however, legal experts say prosecutors would have to prove Hicks deliberately targeted those killed because of their religion, race, or national origin. North Carolina does not have a specific hate crime statute, though its laws cover such acts of ethnic intimidation as hanging a noose, burning a cross, or setting fire to a church. McCracken says that since the shootings, there haven't been any reports of hate crimes against Muslims in Chapel Hill, but that seems to be doing little to calm the fears of many in the Muslim community. In Chapel Hill, I'm AJ Nwoko reporting.
Hicks was supposed to appear in court this morning for a probable cause hearing, but that has been rescheduled to early April.
UNC Faculty Council has had a lot to consider in recent months. At the most recent meeting, faculty discussed changes in council leadership, the athletics recruitment policy, and the Board of Governors' decision to close the Center on Poverty, Work, and Opportunity. Chancellor Carol Folt and Provost James Dean spoke about efforts to continue the center's work. Law professor Theodore Shaw expressed his disappointment about the center's closing.
The closing of the Poverty Center is, I think, an intrusion into academic freedom, into the soul of the university. I'm deeply troubled by it.
And Shaw isn't the only one upset by what many see as a political move by the BOG. Alyssa Armstrong is live outside the Center on Poverty, Work and Opportunity with more. Alyssa?
Gene Nickel has headed the center since 2008 and feels he has been singled out by the BOG for political reasons. Gene Nickel is not happy.
This is a step by petty tyrants to try and demand totalitarianism, which is beyond the American promise.
On Friday, the NC Board of Governors announced the decision to shut down 3 UNC system centers. The one making the most headlines, the Center on Poverty, Work, and Opportunity, headed by Nickel.
The Board of Governors has just voted to close an academic center because they don't like, and their bosses don't like, what a faculty member writes.
Nickel is talking about the columns he wrote for the News and Observer criticizing Republican policies. And the BOG, it's primarily Republican-led. Chair of Public Affairs Jim Holmes says that had nothing to do with their decision.
He's entitled to his opinion, and we should respect his opinion. It's not true. I know what we did and why we did it.
First-year Ebony Watkins stood up during a BOG meeting in February criticizing the board's actions.
Forum, I thought it was very important that some members of the community speak out and for the Poverty Center.
At some point, you have to make decisions and move on, and you can't discuss stuff into perpetuity, and we listened.
Nickel says despite the announcement, his work is not over.
I am free to go on writing and speaking and attempting to push back against the war on poor people in North Carolina, and I'm certainly going to do it.
In an email today, Chancellor Carol Folt says she disagrees with the board's decision, and she shares our community's fundamental belief in academic freedom and freedom of speech, and then says she believes the Board of Governors shares this vision as well. Jacqueline?
Thanks, Alyssa. ECU's Center for Biodiversity and NCCU's Institute for Civic Engagement are the other centers that are closing. They officially have to shut their doors by September 1st.
The cost of college is going up again. The UNC Board of Governors has approved tuition increases for in-state and out-of-state students. North Carolina residents will face a 4.3% tuition hike next year, bringing the average cost for undergrads to nearly $6,500. For out-of-state students, it's a 3.7% increase, up to almost $20,400 per year. The next year, it's another 3.7% for in-state and 2.7% for out-of-state. UNC schools will put the majority of the added income into faculty salaries.
On Tuesday, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu spoke on Capitol Hill in an attempt to dissuade Congress from relaxing sanctions against Iran. Netanyahu says easing nuclear restrictions on Iran would put both Israel and the U.S. in danger. He also warned that Iran's plan to create a militant Islamic empire. The speech comes while the White House is in the middle of diplomatic negotiations with Iran. Some members of Hillel support Netanyahu, some don't.
To suggest that the marriage between ISIS or just generally Islamic militants and nuclear weapons is the most pressing issue in the free world right now shows that he's kind of ludicrous.
While Panitz opposes Netanyahu's ideas, other members of Hillel support them, showing the mixed opinions of the Jewish community even here at UNC.
In the emotionally charged conversation about rape, fewer topics are tenser than false allegations. And some say that Title IX regulations increase the frequency of these allegations. Reporter Elizabeth Chu is live in our satellite studio with more. Elizabeth.
That's right, Kristen, and some activists are arguing that universities should abandon the Title IX system and leave the investigation of sexual assault cases up to law enforcement so that no one is deemed guilty without the right to a fair trial.
At Auburn University in 2011, Joshua Strange was falsely accused of sexually assaulting a student.
It was devastating. It was absolutely just horrific.
His ex-girlfriend alleged that he forced himself on her while she was asleep, a charge he was later cleared of in criminal court. But during his experience, Strange discovered some things about the system put in place at universities to handle these cases.
It doesn't work at all. It's a very one-sided system.
Under federal civil rights law, colleges and universities have to conduct their own investigations into sexual assault reports. And Title IX requires colleges to protect students from sex-based discrimination. Katie Nolan is UNC's Title IX director.
But I do think that we have struck the appropriate balance between the rights of an accused and the rights of a reporting party.
Studies estimate that as many as 25% of sexual assault allegations on college campuses are false. At UNC in 2013, 14 students reported they had been a victim of sexual assault on campus. 5 of those cases were abandoned because the victims stopped cooperating. Proof for Strange that the universities need to change their system.
But not everybody is guilty, and yet you're still treating the not guilty as if they are still the guilty.
And that this system will only get worse if left untreated.
Right now it's just me, but eventually there's going to be 100 of them standing behind me.
Even if as many as 25% of claims are false, that still means that at least 75% of sexual assault allegations on college campuses are true. And university officials encourage any student who has been a victim of sexual assault to file a report with law enforcement, seek medical attention, and report the incident to the university.
That's Elizabeth Chu live in our satellite studio.
Cheerleaders have to maintain a certain look in front of the crowds.
But are they and others ignoring the risks associated with tanning beds?
The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention reports that nearly 1 in 3 young white women tans indoors each year. Health reporter Jenny Fitter looks at why students use tanning beds despite the risks.
Take UNC sophomore and sorority member Isabel Goodwin. The cheerleader says using a tanning bed improves her appearance under the harsh lights on the court.
We kind of like to have a little color just so that we don't look washed out and completely pale.
But indoor tanning increases risk of skin cancer, including melanoma, the deadliest form. Last May, the FDA required new warnings that sun lamp products should not be used on persons under the age of 18.
I've known people that it has given cancer to, or it's been a part of it.
UNC health communication researcher Seth Knorr surveyed 700 sorority members about their indoor tanning behaviors and beliefs.
Women who were going indoor tanning were pretty aware of the risks of indoor tanning.
Knorr says his study suggests health messages should try to change perceptions about tan skin and counter myths like
it gives you a base tan that protects you from the sun. There's a lot of things like that which are essentially not true.
What is true is indoor tanning exposes people to ultraviolet radiation that damages skin and can lead to cancer. The risk is higher for those who start indoor tanning at a young age. Goodwin says she's thought about the risks.
I'm young. I'll deal with it when I'm older, I guess.
Experts say a safer way to tan indoors is to use sunless tanning products that don't expose you to harmful ultraviolet rays. In Chapel Hill, I'm Jenny Fitter reporting.
2 years ago, a lawmaker proposed a bill in the North Carolina legislature to ban indoor tanning by those younger than 18. The bill is currently in committee in the Senate.
Going to the doctor can seem scary, especially for kids, but bringing along your best friend can make it a little more bearable. Kids Zoo Children's Museum hosted a teddy bear clinic recently to help kids feel more comfortable for their next doctor's office visit. The stuffed animals and their owners worked their way through different stations with the help of doctors and nurses from UNC hospitals. They took the patient's blood pressure, gave them their necessary shots, and even helped to fix some major injuries. Together, they looked at x-rays and even crafted some of their own.
Rare diseases affect 1 in 10 U.S. citizens. Saturday marked the first ever Rare Disease Awareness Day in Chapel Hill. The event included children's art activities promoting tolerance, as well as photo sessions for families. Visitors donated to causes through a spare change drive that brought even the youngest members of the community to empty their piggy banks. Guests entered raffles for prizes and interacted with community members to learn about uncommon diseases.
You don't have to sit in a classroom to receive a business degree from UNC. Reporter Alexis Simmons tells us why UNC is at the top of the list for MBA online programs.
Keenan-Flagler Business School students walk along these bricks to class, but UNC student Faith Musa won't have to, and she'll still receive her MBA.
As long as I have an internet connection on my phone, I can do whatever I need to do for school.
That's because she's part of the MBA at UNC online degree program, and it's more than just convenient. It's tied for the best in the nation, according to the U.S. News and World Report.
It was a really cool way for me to keep working and get my degree at the same time.
Accessibility is exactly what the dean of the business school, Douglas Shackelford, aims for.
If you're anywhere in the globe and you'd love to get a Carolina degree, you can get one through this.
Right now, the nearly 4-year-old program has more than 630 students from 47 states and 35 countries.
Our baby is growing, but it's got a long ways to go till it's an adult.
Students and faculty get together every quarter in locations around the world. And Musa says these gatherings make the program stand out.
You can just jump right in like, oh yeah, we were in this class. What did you think of the professor? Or what did you do with this project?
The program was ranked #1 due to admission selectivity, student engagement, and faculty credentials. Officials say the best is yet to come.
We'll look back one day, 5, 10, 20 years from now and think, oh my gosh. Sort of like you look back at your first cell phone and think, how did I even use that thing?
But for now, they're proud to have their baby in a spot at the top. In Chapel Hill, I'm Alexis Simmons reporting.
This was the first time the U.S. News and World Report ranked MBA online programs. Indiana University Bloomington and Temple University tied with UNC for first place.
Bring out the shades and unbox the shorts.
The weather in Chapel Hill is sunny and warm. Drew Day has your forecast next.
Welcome back to Carolina Week, everyone. I'm Drew Day. Thanks for staying with us this evening. We'll start off with the satellite across the state. We have plenty of sunshine as we head into the afternoon, as we got rid of the belligerent cloud cover earlier this morning, and all the sunshine allowed us to warm up into the mid-70s this afternoon. 75 was the high today here in Chapel Hill, and the sunshine is a good thing. It will actually help to warm us up for the potential that we could have some freezing rain tomorrow, which we'll talk about in just a second. First, let's talk about the cold front that's off to our west. It's lining up right about in here, and with an area of low pressure just to the north of it, and a lot of the precipitation in association with this front is just to the west, so it's actually behind the front, which means the rain will actually be falling where the cold air is as well. Now we'll walk you through the next 36 hours here, I think is what I put up here. We have the rain still to the north and west later on this evening, and that will approach the area as the front slides southward, and the rain will begin to start here in the Chapel Hill area by around 4 a.m. So as you wake up tomorrow morning, expect for there to be showers, but we do not expect any frozen precipitation to be falling at that point. Temperatures will just be due warm for that, so the morning commute will be just fine. You won't have to worry about that. Even through lunchtime, things will be just fine here across the Triangle in Chapel Hill and much of central North Carolina. And the rain will continue to push through the area as we head throughout the afternoon, sometimes getting heavy at a few moments, but again, all of this will be liquid. It's not until we get to the end of the day tomorrow that we expect there may be a little bit of a changeover to some sleet or freezing rain in some locations, and that is all because we'll have cold air coming down in from the north behind the front, moving into the region, and that surge of cold air coming in from the north will help to cool temperatures just here at the surface, which means aloft it will be warm, but here at the surface below freezing, which would be a forecast setup for seeing some freezing rain, and it would be anywhere from 1/10 to 1/1500ths of an inch possible across the area. And so that means a lot of the elevated surfaces will become icy, maybe clinging to the trees, but we expect that because we made into the mid-70s today, all the concrete surfaces are plenty warm, so we won't have to worry about a scenario where it would be a huge ice storm across the area. Now for tonight, temperatures will be right around 57. That'll be the temperature right around 4 a.m., but then temperatures are going to continue to fall throughout the night. Rain in the area by tomorrow morning. 48 by 8 a.m. and don't let that fool you into thinking it'll warm up into the 60s again tomorrow. Temperatures will drop to the upper 30s by noon, and by 8 p.m. we'll be back down into the upper 20s. And here's a look at the 5-day forecast. At 50 for the high tomorrow, that'll probably occur around 7 a.m. and then we'll fall all the way down into the 20s by Friday evening, recovering only into the 30s for Friday, and then maybe as we head into next week, we'll make make it to the upper 50s, and 60 degrees is the normal high for this time of year, so maybe we'll get some above normal temperatures here soon.
Well, I'm so bummed because today it's been so beautiful and now it's just going to be cold all over again. You can't escape it.
Yeah, temperatures are only going to be falling. It's going to get colder here.
Well, spring is right around the corner. Thank you, Drew.
All right, you're welcome.
How much would you enjoy the chance to pie a dookie prior to Saturday's big game?
Luis Fernandez is next with sports.
Welcome back to Carolina Week. I'm Luis Fernandez with sports. We start today not in Chapel Hill, but in Durham, with the sexual assault allegations against former Duke player Rasheed Sulaimon. The Chronicle states that the coaching staff was informed of the allegations during March of 2014, but Sulaimon continued to play until January of this year. Now, while coach Mike Krzyzewski had no comment, Vice President and Director of Athletics Kevin White defended the actions of the athletics department. In a statement, he said, "Any allegation of student misconduct that is brought to the attention of our staff and coaches is immediately referred to the Office of Student Conduct and Student Affairs, which has the responsibility for upholding the Duke Code of Conduct. These investigations are conducted thoroughly in a timely manner and with great care to respect the privacy and confidentiality of all students involved. Those procedures have been and continue to be followed by Coach Mike Krzyzewski and all members of the men's basketball program." Former learning specialist Mary Willingham blew the whistle about bogus classes at UNC. Our Tate Frazier spoke to her replacement, Bradley Bethel, who says he's trying to set the record straight.
When you see such harsh accusations in print and you weren't expecting it, it's like a sucker punch. You know, a lot of them felt sucker punched.
Is there anything that you hope to do, maybe going out and talking, like on the university's campus, you know, to students on campus and things of that nature, just to kind of get people to understand that this isn't just, you know, basically UNC making a documentary about, hey, we weren't that bad, you know, kind of thing?
UNC made some mistakes, and this is something I've said from the beginning. UNC made some mistakes, but not to the extent, not as egregious as what the story has been. And so that's what we're trying to clarity. We're trying to bring this documentary is about bringing clarity to a situation that we think an irresponsible press has obfuscated.
The Kickstarter campaign is well above $100,000, but the DTH editorial board is urging students to support almost anything but this documentary. Battle of the Blues Part Dos is this weekend, but before then, the Heels had to travel to the ATL to face the Yellow Jackets. Would Carolina have a letdown game against Georgia Tech? No, they would not. Carolina started off fast, stealing the ball from Georgia Tech on 5 straight possessions. A lot of fast break points for the Tar Heels. Classic Carolina, am I right? You know what's not normal for the Heels though? Making threes, but everyone got in on the action tonight. Nate Britt, got it. Marcus Page, all day. Joel Berry II, straight cash. He hit 3 threes and led the team in scoring with a career-high 15 points. Luke Davis and Theo Penson finally got some time on the court after being injured. Penson hit a 3 late in the game, and you know the bench is loving it. That's 4 Carolina players with a 3 ball. Only second time that's happened in conference play this season. So how long will everyone stay happy? Well, that depends on how the Duke game goes. But it's Beat Duke week, and what better way to have some fun than to pie a Dookie in the face? These are actually UNC students pretending to be Dukies, but use your imagination. In fact, let's take another look at that. She passes to the man, and boom goes the dynamite. Heels fans are hoping the team treats the Blue Devils just like that. Proceeds from the event will go to Relay for Life. Guys, I really wish that I could have been there to pie some Dukies in the face. It would have been a lot of fun.
I heard there were some UNC basketball players out there too.
Yeah.
You know, the game was so close last time. I really hope that we beat Duke.
Thank you, Luis.
So we're leaving it up to you.
Black and white, or black and blue, or white and gold.
Nikki Mandel is one of our reporters committed to helping you answer the burning questions of our time. Sometimes we go straight to you for answers.
I'm Nikki Mandel, standing here in the pit, asking students the important question of the day: white and gold or blue and black? Okay, so you saw the infamous dress on the internet this weekend, right?
Right.
What did you think? Was it white and gold or was it blue and black?
Obviously white and gold.
Blue and black.
It's definitely blue and black.
I thought it was more blue and black.
I stand firm in our belief that it was black and blue.
First I saw it as blue and black, and then it changed to white and gold.
Black and blue. Later into the night that I stared at it and got really angry, it turned blue and black.
White and gold. You're colorblind if you think it's black and blue.
Actually, the real dress is black and blue, but the colors in the viral photo, we'll leave that for you to decide. In Chapel Hill, I'm Nikki Mandel reporting.
That is exactly why I wore this dress today, Jacqueline, to confuse our viewers and ask what color mine is.
It's clearly blue and black. I don't really understand why this dress came out of nowhere and all of a sudden is a huge controversy.
Is it really blue and black? I thought it was white and gold.
Well,
the world will never know. That does it for this edition of Carolina Week.
Thanks for watching. Good night.